Hello, dear students. Welcome back to the e-learning platform of Divine Public School. This is Shireen sir, and I am going to explain today finite and non-finite verbs. So let's begin. First of all, let's see what is a finite verb. A finite verb functions as the main verb in a sentence and shows action, possession, etc. It shows tense and agrees with the subject of the sentence. Let's try to understand it through examples. The first one, I spend a lot of time at home. The second one, I'm going to Singapore in August. If we change the subject from I to he, then the sentence will become the first one, he spends a lot of time at home. And similarly, in the second one, again instead of I, if we use he, then it will become he is going to Singapore in August. So you noticed when the subject changes, the finite verb also changes. Let's see if we change the tense, what happens. Instead of simple present in the first sentence, if we use simple past, the sentence will become I spent a lot of time at home. And if we change the second sentence from present continuous to past continuous, the sentence will become I was going to Singapore in August. So I think it's quite clear that the finite verb changes with the change of tense and it agrees with the subject of the sentence. Let's see non-finite verb. A non-finite verb doesn't show tense nor does it change its form to agree with the subject. Let's try to understand through example. I wanted to read every morning. Cooking is my father's hobby. The sparkling diamonds caught everyone's eye. In these three examples, children, the underlined verbs are non-finite verbs. Let's change the tense of first sentence from simple past to simple present. Then the sentence will be I want to read every morning. So the finite verb from wanted, it changed into want when we change the tense from simple past to simple present. But to read remained same. Similarly, if we change the tense of second sentence from simple present to simple past, the sentence will become now cooking was my father's hobby. From is, the finite verb changed into was, but cooking, the non-finite verb, remained unchanged. And in the third sentence, from simple past, if we change it into present perfect, the sentence will become now the sparkling diamonds have caught everyone's eye. So the finite verb caught has changed into have caught, but the non-finite verb sparkling remains same. In this way, children, we have seen that non-finite verbs remain unaffected with the change of tense. They remain unaffected with the change of subjects also. Let's see types of non-finite verbs. We can classify non-finite verbs into infinitives, gerunds, and participles. Non-finite verbs that usually consist of the preposition to and the base form of verb are called infinitives. For examples, my sisters wish to visit Japan. And the second one, Vicky tried to finish his painting last night. The underlined verbs to visit and to finish are infinitives. Let's see some important points to learn about infinitives. Number one, we generally use verb plus to infinitive with these verbs: agree, forget, hope, promise, decide, feel, learn, plan, refuse, offer, seem, appear, claim, etc. For examples, I forgot to make a call. She hopes to win a prize. The sea appears to be calm. Let's see the second important point. The following verbs follow the pattern verb plus object plus two infinitives. For example, advise, encourage, forbid, order, remind, warn, allow, force, invite, permit. Let's see the examples. The doctor has advised me to take rest. My friend reminded me to complete the project. Children, to understand and use infinitives properly, you should learn the verbs which are enumerated in these 2 points. Let's see bare infinitives. The infinitives without the preposition to are known as bare infinitives. For example, the mother made the baby sleep. My friend helped me solve the sum. Besides full infinitive, that is 2 plus V1, and bare infinitive, another infinitive is there, that is split infinitive, which is formed when a word is placed between the preposition to and the base form of the verb. For example, to kindly help. Between to and help, kindly has been placed. So, it will be called split infinitive. Children, split infinitives should be used as less as possible in formal writing. Let's see some common uses of bare infinitives. Number 1. Bare infinitives are used after certain verbs like bid, let, make, need, dare, see, hear, feel, know, watch. For examples, let him sit here. I heard him cry. It's wrong to say, let him to sit here. I heard him to cry. Next use of bare infinitives. Bare infinitives are used after the modal auxiliary verbs such as will, would, shall, should, may, might, can, could, and must. For examples, I cannot touch the ceiling fan. You should work harder this year. Bare infinitives are also used after had better, had rather, would rather, sooner than, rather than. I would rather die than beg. You had better take rest. We don't say I would rather to die than to beg. Nor do we say you had better to take rest. Bare infinitives are used usually after the words why not. For examples, why waste time? Why not go by bus? It's wrong to say why to waste time. Why not to go by bus? Children, let's see the use of infinitives with adverbs to and enough. Sentence structure for infinitives with to. First of all, subject, then verb, then TOO plus adjective plus to infinitive plus other words. For example, he is too young to go alone. They were too proud to beg. It's too cold to go out. The milk was too hot to drink. This box is too heavy for me to lift. When to infinitive is used with adverb to, then it takes a negative sense. As we have seen, he is too young to go alone. It means he is so young that he cannot go alone. The second one, they were too proud to beg. It means they were so proud that they could not beg. It is too cold to go out. It is so cold that we cannot go out. The milk was too hot to drink. The milk was so hot that we could not drink it. Similarly, this box is too heavy for me to lift. This box is so heavy that I cannot lift it. See the sentence structure for infinitives with enough. First of all, subject, then verb, plus adjective or adverb, plus enough, plus to infinitive, plus other words, or subject plus verb plus enough plus noun plus two infinitives. For example, you are old enough to travel alone. Children, enough is such an adverb which is placed after the adjectives. Generally, adverbs are placed before the adjectives they describe, but enough, it should be placed after the adjective to which it describes. As we have seen, you are old enough to travel alone. Old enough. Second example, the room was big enough to accommodate all of us. He scored well enough to be selected in the team. We have enough food to last for 3 days. I didn't have enough money to afford the bus fare. Let's see the next non-finite verb, gerund. A gerund is a word that ends in ing and functions as a noun. It is a verbal noun and does the work both of a verb and noun. For example, swimming is a good exercise. He enjoys playing chess. In the first example, swimming, which is a gerund, it has been used as the subject of the sentence, and in the second one, playing, the gerund, it has been used as the object to the verb enjoys. Let's see the list of some verbs that are usually followed by the ing form, that is the gerund. Go on, understand, deny, enjoy, admit, continue, stop, avoid, mind, give up, keep, put off, miss, consider, finish. For examples, he has given up smoking. What does it mean? After given up, we should use gerund form. Would you mind holding the bag for me? Again, after mind, gerund form holding. The invigilator ordered to stop writing. After stop, gerund form is to be used. He denied stealing the jam. Now let's learn participle. What is a participle? A participle is a verb that is used as an adjective and often ends with ing or ed or en. It is a verbal adjective and does the work of a verb and an adjective in a sentence. For example, this was the turning point of the match. Turning point. Turning is participle, used as adjective. Let's see types of participles. We can classify participles into present participle, past participle, and perfect participle. Present participle is formed by adding ing to the verb. For example, seeing the police, the thief ran away. Being tired, he sat under a tree. I saw him playing with his friends. He tried to catch the moving bus. In these four examples, seeing, being, playing, and moving, these all are present participles. Now past participle. Past participles are used as adjectives. Third form of the verb is used to form past participle. The child was wearing a torn shirt. Torn is the past participle working as adjective. He was sitting on a broken chair. Broken is the past participle working in the sentence as adjective to the noun chair. Let's see perfect participle. Perfect participle is formed by using having plus third form of the verb. For example, having completed his work, he went to post the letter. Having finished his homework, he went out to play. Perfect participle shows the completion of one work. For example, as we have seen, having completed his work, he completed his work, then he went to post the letter. And the combined form was having completed his work, he went to post the letter. And in the second one also, first he completed his homework, then he went out to play. And the combined form, having finished his homework, he went out to play. Let's see the use of participle to join sentences through examples. The first one, the family was traveling in a taxi. It was hired. The family was traveling in a hired taxi. Hired is the past participle. He had spent all his money. He decided to go home. Having spent all his money, he decided to go home. She was hungry. She prepared noodles. Being hungry, she prepared noodles. It was a very hot day. We remained at home. It being a very hot day, we remained at home. He took off his shoes. He entered the computer lab. Taking off his shoes, he entered the computer lab. Well, children, this is all about finite and non-finite verbs. And I hope that your concept is quite clear regarding the uses of finite and non-finite verbs. See this video again for a better understanding. Thank you, children.